Ladies and gentlemen, we made it. It's game day for the first time this season. We'll have your preview for Lightning versus Senators and some bold predictions for this next season on today's Locked on Lightning.
You're Locked on Lightning, your daily podcast on the Tampa Bay Lightning, part of the Locked on Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked on Lightning your first listen of the day. Every single day, we are your free daily Tampa Bay Lightning podcast, part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day. As always, we want to give a special shout out to our everydayers, those of you who tune into every single show, every single day. We love you. We appreciate the support you give us week in, week out. I'm Nick Morgan, and I am joined by the Adventure Island to my Busch Gardens, Greg Stephen. Greg, welcome in, and happy game day. Actually, some time to talk about some regular season hockey happening tonight.
Finally, first time. Good morning. I'm excited. I'm going to BMI later, and it's going to be a good time. I like that our first game's at home.
Yes, it makes everything easier. And also, yeah, if you guys want to see Greg at Club BMI, let him know.
Yeah. Send me a DM. I'll meet whoever wants to say hello. I'll be there. I'll check during the episode and bring it up again later. But I think I'm in 108, but I'm not certain. I think I'm 108 row D.
Yeah, they're good. You got to set up a giant remote booth right there that just says Locked.
I'd love to
everywhere. Yeah,
in Thunder Alley, I want to set up something for us and have people interact. But we'll get there. We'll get there.
Let's
gotta get some permission first.
We gotta get permission first, and to feel like the Lightning maybe have to know who we are.
Yeah. And I think
we're working on it, folks. We're working on it. Hey,
today is more of a beer day, if you know what I mean.
There you go. Yeah. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com and win $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. We are going to be making today, ahead of the new season, some bold predictions about the Lightning, about the NHL, hockey in general for this upcoming season. You guys send in some of yours on Twitter, Instagram, on YouTube. We're going to be reading those on air too, giving them a little bit of a grade, what we think about the predictions themselves. So that's coming up on the show. But first, let's start with game day, Greg. Our first actual regular season game of the year against the Ottawa Senators. 7 o'clock puck drop at Benchmark International Arena. Game tonight on The Spot, Tampa Bay, Channel 66, if you're watching at home. This is an interesting one because the Ottawa Senators were a team that you and I both put in our playoff tiers as kind of a safe playoff team. You and I both thought that they were going to finish top 3 in the division this year. And they're facing a Tampa Bay Lightning team that obviously they're coming off that emotional Florida preseason finale. They're not going to have JJ Moser. They're not going to have Zemgus Girgensons, who is hurt in that game by a player who should have been suspended. And you're also missing Nick Paul in this one. So right away, you're dealing with some holes in what should be a very, I would say it should be a very tight matchup between two teams that I think are going to be in the playoff conversation when the year ends.
Yeah. And these teams, when they play each other over the last couple of years, it's been high scoring, right? I think this is going to be a thriller. I think it's going to be 5-3, 6-4, somewhere like that. That's my prediction. And look, the Sens got better, right? I think
better.
This is not a simple game to win. I think the Lightning do have the advantage on paper. It's just a slight edge with the roster. And they have home ice. So those two things lead me to believe they will win tonight. But that being said, it's anybody's game always, right?
You're starting us off with a loss already, man.
What? I said we were going to win.
Oh, I thought you said the Senators were going to win.
Oh, no. I said on paper, Lightning are better, and we're home. So I think those two things lead to the victory.
I don't know. I tune you out sometimes, I feel
Oh,
like.
wow.
No, it's just kidding. I still love you. I'm with you, though. I think the Senators got better. It's interesting to see a full year of Dylan Cousins because he was so highly regarded as a prospect in Buffalo and never kind of quite got to that point. I think with a better team and a better organization around him in Ottawa, I think maybe he can find some of that talent. And then even, bringing in somebody like Lars Eller to shore up the bottom six, that was kind of a pain point for Ottawa last year is they had that top end talent. But then when it came to the playoffs, they didn't really have that depth to help them survive some of those Toronto battles. Lars Eller, who's been in this league a long time, knows how to play, knows how to win. That's a guy that I think can help them out a lot. It's to me the big storyline for Tampa is going to be how do you get back to the point where you're kind of now focused at the mission at hand. And maybe Saturday's preseason game was a way to close the door on some of the emotion that's a lot of us thought that Tampa was going to have coming into the season. And I'm not just talking about like all the fights and pissed at Florida and stuff like that, but the frustration over losing to Florida twice in the postseason in back-to-back years. The frustration over, I think a lot of people after last year's first round exit, which is their third straight first round exit, saying, okay, I think this cup window is closed on Tampa now. I think there's, frustration over how people like Kucherov played in the playoffs. I think there's just a lot of frustration at the end of the year. And I think you want to see maybe if they put the frustration aside and instead, kind of replace it with sort of a focus chip on the shoulder. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you want to have motivation. You want to have something that drives you. But I think if you go too far, you get a little bit obsessive and it knocks you off your game.
Yeah,
and
it gets in your own head.
Where it's maybe stuck in your head a little bit. Like, and it's like it's if you haven't scored in 15 games and you start gripping the stick a little bit tighter and your shots are harder but more off target. That I think that's a good comparison for maybe Tampa is maybe they go into this year trying too hard. I want to say that maybe the way the preseason ended with Florida, which was, you have the Hagel punch, which sort of brought up all these emotions. You had the AHLers versus Florida Panthers roster debacle.
We've seen how that was received.
But it's also maybe a way to be like, this is kind of who we're going to be this year. And I'm curious to see the balance between having the chip on your shoulder, having the motivation to go out and prove people wrong this year versus not letting it sort of get in your head and drive the Lightning to this negative space.
Agreed. And I think throughout the regular season, we're not going to see them, gripping the stick too tight. I think that really comes into play in the postseason. And if for whatever reason it's Florida versus Tampa in round one again, I think they're doomed because I think, like you just said, it'll be in the head. And it's difficult to get over. Think about the Leafs. The Leafs, this is something they've been combating for 8 years now or something.
They still have not beaten the Boston Bruins in the postseason.
Right.
I'll just put that out there.
That's what I'm saying. And to get over that hurdle is not an easy task. I mean, it's so difficult. They shipped Marner out, right? Like, you don't want to give a guy like Marner up, but they needed to do something else. So, I think the success is going to depend on that first round matchup. That's my opinion.
I don't want to see Florida in the first round again. If not for just let's have another opponent in there. Yeah, I am. Fix the playoff format, NHL. Please just fix the playoff format. Player to watch. Give me a player you're watching closely for the Tampa Bay Lightning tonight, and then give me a player maybe on the Ottawa side that you're excited to see.
Okay, for the Lightning, I'm going to go with Vasilevsky. My reasoning is I feel like he's not fully healthy, and I want to see if he looks as good as we think he should be.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'd like to say that he is totally healthy, but like they still have three goalies, right? So
Yeah.
I don't know what they're up to or what's going on there. So I'd like to see him play the full 60 and play well. We'll see how that goes. Senators, I mean, look, Jake Sanderson, right? Like he is dangerous. So I actually really love watching him play just in general. I watch a lot of the Sens games just because of him. But yeah, I'm going with Sanderson. I think he records a point tonight, 100%.
Yeah, great player. I think he's kind of in that next tier of top defensemen. I think after the end of this year, you're going to see him really
Mm-hmm.
start to cement himself in NHL circles.
Top 5.
I'm going a little off the board for this one. One of my players to watch for Tampa tonight is Darren Raddysh. And that's just because JJ Moser not going to play these first two games due to a suspension. And if the line rushes from the past couple of days have held true, it's going to be Darren Raddysh on the first line with Victor Hedman, or first pair, I should say. And that's interesting because he was one of those players, Greg, when the season started, where like it doesn't seem like they trust him defensively.
Mm-hmm.
And we were even, you and I were both at the point where it's like they might be looking for like an upgrade. Like if they can find somebody to take his offensive production, they might look for, an upgrade on defense, or at least maybe go 7 defensemen. So now the fact that he's on the first pair is intriguing because now all of a sudden you can't escape putting him out there in some defensive situations, like tough defensive situations.
Yes.
You're not going to be able to start him in the offensive zone 70% of the time like they did last season.
Right.
You're going and you're not going to escape any matchups. Like he's going to be out there against, Brady Tkachuk, Tim Stützle, like some of the big guns. So I'm very curious to see how he holds up, and maybe to an extent, if he does have some of that defensive prowess in his box that maybe we just hadn't gotten to see the past couple years.
He did have the second worst plus minus in defense last year. So yikes.
Yeah.
Right after our boy Lilleberg.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see for sure. And then on the offensive side, for me, I'm just going to go Tim Stützle. I love Tim Stützle.
Dangerous player.
I feel the same way about him as you do Jake Sanderson. I just watch him and be like, I think this might be like the Tim Stützle breakout year. I think just a really heady two-way player, really strong offensively, has become even more than Brady Tkachuk, I would say, sort of the guy that spearheads a lot of the offense. Like he's the driver, a lot of the offense. It's funny because he's kind of his brother, Matthew, in Florida. I kind of compare Stützle a little bit to the Alexander Barkov in that situation where, Tkachuk's maybe the headliner. He's the flashy guy. He's the physical two-way player and in his own right, a great player. But Barkov's the guy that sort of drives that offense in Florida. I think Tim Stützle is that guy in Ottawa. I think a lot of the play runs through him. So it's going to be interesting to see if, Tampa Bay can corral that early. Because if he gets going, watch out. I think it's going to be a special season for him in Ottawa.
I completely agree. He's so talented.
Yeah. Keys to the game. When we come back, we are each going to give the one key that we think is going to win or lose this matchup for Tampa Bay. Plus, bold predictions for this season. Greg and I have some hot takes. You guys have some hot takes that you've sent in. We'll grade them all when we come back. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL season, along with the NHL season, it's finally here, folks. And FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. All you have to do is pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love using FanDuel because it gives me so many ways to play. You can build parlays, you can build player props, or my favorite thing to do, follow the live lines during games with some live in-game bets. It makes watching football even more exciting when you've got a little something riding on the action. Whether you're a casual fan or just checking up on the guys on your fantasy team, FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. So, what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. Again, FanDuel.com to download the app and place your first $5 bet. We're back with you on Locked On Lightning. Nick Morgan and Greg Stephen here talking about Lightning versus Senators tonight at Club BMI. See Greg for your bouncer hookup.
Yeah.
7 o'clock puck drop, first game of the season for both teams. Greg, let's talk about keys to the game. What do you think is going to make or break a Lightning win in tonight's showdown?
I'm going to say what I always say.
Can I guess? I'm going to say you're going to say something about penalties.
I am going to say something about penalties. I'm going to say stay out of the box or you lose this game every single time. Because, look, the Sens have a good power play. And they have some insanely offensive guys. And they're going to make you pay. This is not a team to take lightly anymore. This is a team that will score goals at will when they are able and they are man up. And we have a penalty problem. There's no secret. It's just we have a discipline issue. If that just starts the way that it's looked in preseason, I fear there will be many power play goals.
You can't have 14 game misconducts in this game, Greg.
No, you can't. I mean, you can't even have 4 minors.
14 players ejected.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my key to the game. I think if the Lightning play a little smarter than they've looked in the preseason games, I think it's a win. If they don't, I think they lose. I think that's just how it goes.
I'm with you. I feel like the penalties are going to be a key to this whole season because I feel like, you clean it up a little bit. Lightning had a good penalty kill last year,
yes,
but I would say especially this game where you don't have JJ Moser out there, where you don't have Nick Paul out there, who is a very good penalty killer. And even Zemgus spent some time on the PK. You're 3 guys who I don't think, their absence, you don't want to test,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a good point. I'm going to go something a little bit different here, and I'm going to go face-offs.
Okay.
Tampa Bay was so good in so many areas of the game last year. Face-offs were not one of them.
Mm.
They didn't really have that sort of go-to center to win, a key face-off late. And to me, there's this weird thing around the analytics community about face-offs maybe being an overrated stat. And I disagree with that completely because I think it's different. Like, let's say there's 45 seconds left in the game. Your goalie's pulled and you have a face-off in their zone. There's a big difference between winning that face-off clean and immediately getting started versus the other team winning the face-off, puck going into the corner. Now you have to forecheck. Now you have to win a loose puck. Now you have to prevent the puck from going out of the zone. That all took 10 seconds off the board.
Mm-hmm.
I do think face-offs are a very important stat and not just a situational stat because I think it does give you some control in the level of play. And whether it's the offensive end, defensive end, or just neutral zone, winning the face-off, I think, gives you a little bit of a jump and controls the play. That's why I don't think face-offs is an overrated stat. Tampa Bay didn't do a great job as a team face-offs last year, and I want to see them do a little bit better at this year. You talked about Jake Sanderson. He's a great guy at starting the play, driving the play. I think if he gets the puck on his stick first, I think that's going to put some of the Lightning's top stars, because they're probably going to be out there with him, a little bit on the back foot. And I want to see them attacking on the front foot a little bit in this game. So for me, I would love to see face-offs, not only just for this game, but maybe as a sign of improvement for the season, like something to improve upon as the year goes on.
Yeah, agreed. And you're right. There are situational times where, yeah, you want to win that draw. And like you said, in a situation where your goalie's gone and you lose that draw, not only do you have to forecheck, but they could just score on you there.
That is true. Yeah.
So you got to win that draw. So they are very important, and there are situations where they are more important. But yeah, in general, they do matter. So
Yeah. 7:00 puck drop tonight in Tampa at Club BMI, Benchmark International, if you're not hip to our lingo here. If you're watching at home, it's going to be on Channel 66. So there you go. Channel 66, The Spot. For some reason, I forgot what their little tagline was called.
the spot is what it's called.
The Spot. Yeah. The Spot. Tampa Bay, Channel 66. Love to see games on local channels. There's another hot
We
take.
had this conversation once long ago.
We did. We did have this. Way to throw it back to one of our earlier shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be back with you tomorrow for full recap and everything like that. But for now, it's bold predictions time. So what Greg and I did was put together some bold predictions about the Lightning season, the NHL season in general, some teams, some players, and we're going to grade each other's bold picks. So Greg, why don't you start us off? Give us a bold prediction for this season.
I'm going to go with Jake Guentzel breaks 100 points this season. I think, yes, we saw him play a full season last season, but now I just feel like he's even more settled in. And Cooch looks very synergistic with him now. And I think he's gonna be he's gonna upgrade his game. I don't even think he's ever hit 100 points. But here, let me look. I'm curious. He hasn't, right?
Yeah, he has not. He's come close.
He's come close.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's had 84 in the past, but last season he had 80. That was like his best season in what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah.
Like 6 years. I think he just gets better. And with Cooch there, and Cooch is going to be even more determined to win this season. I mean, he always is, but every time he loses, I feel like you're just powering him up. And I think that just benefits Guentzel. And Guentzel is going to score a bunch of goals this season. I think he scores more than 40 again. Yeah, I'm just going with 100 points for Guentzel. That's my take.
There you go. I like that. I'm with you. I'm going to rate that as a very plausible take.
Thanks.
He hasn't done it. I think there's maybe some bias against him just for that, but I do think that Jake Guentzel's got that in him, and I do think he's going to get off to a stronger start this year too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give one of my takes that I actually kind of teased on yesterday's show. I'm going to go Anthony Cirelli earns a Selke nomination this year.
Nice.
For those of you listening that don't know, Selke is the best defensive forward in the NHL. I mean, it's not always voted that way. It's kind of just what player who's kind of good at defending the puck happened to score the most points that year. But I digress. Anthony Cirelli is a guy who's always sort of in the high scorer conversation. I mean, he's like a 60-point player. And I think the one area he really excels at that a lot of people around the NHL see is his two-way game. I think that's going to be more important than ever this year. Mm-hmm. I think his increased two-way game was a really good indicator of why the Lightning did good defensively last year, a lot better than the year before. I think he's just going to get some recognition from that. So I'm going to go Anthony Cirelli, Selke finalist.
Agreed. I picked that on our trophy episode.
You did. You spoiled my hot take there, Greg.
Sorry.
All right. We're going to make some NHL predictions in just a second, and we're going to grade your submissions. A lot of you sent in your picks for bold predictions this year. We're going to go through them, rate how likely we think they might be, how spicy they are. We're going to do that when we come back. Welcome back to Locked On Lightning. Nick Morgan here alongside Greg Stephen. Greg, let's get to some more bold predictions for this season. I had Red Wings making the postseason as one of my bold predictions, and I know we talked about that on yesterday's show a little bit, why I thought. Do you have a bold NHL take this year? Just
Bold
something crazy
NHL.
you think is going to happen?
I think, let me think of a good one. Okay. I think the Sharks make the playoffs.
That is a bold one.
Hell yeah.
I like it. It's going to be interesting to watch for sure because San Jose, I feel like I had them as the upper tier of mid in my playoff picks. And that's just because I think,
so.
yeah, well, they're not going to be the bottom feeders this year. And I
No.
said yesterday, I think they hit their stride as the season goes on. Still a little too far-fetched for me. I'm going to call that bold. I'm going to say bold take on the take scale for me.
Yeah. Macklin Celebrini, the new Connor McDavid? Question mark?
Don't get me wrong. They're going to be a juggernaut in a couple of years. Yeah, and they're going to see some side of that this year.
Hell yeah, they are.
I'm going to throw a bold take at you.
Let's hear it.
And then we'll get to some fan ones. I think USA. Actually, I'm gonna rephrase this a little bit. I think a team other than Canada is going to win the gold medal in the Olympics this year. First time since 2014, NHL players are going to be at the Olympics. It's been 12 years. Canada has won virtually every major tournament in that time. They're going to have the best, I guess, like high-end skill roster.
Mm-hmm.
I just think there's going to be a target on their back. I don't think they're going to win Olympic gold. I think it's going to be another team. I almost said USA.
Wow.
I think, you could possibly see Sweden or Finland in that mix too.
Nah.
I think it is. I think, yeah, that's just a bold prediction I have. It's not going to be Team Canada.
Is Russia excluded from the Olympics this year?
I believe Russia is excluded.
See, if they were not, I would pick them. But now I'm going to Canada. Sorry. Bold take.
Okay. Too bold. I don't know. I just have a feeling. Let's get to some fan takes, shall we? Because we got some good ones. Here's one from Jacob Magadan, who commented on our Instagram. JJ Moser becomes a demon. In which case, I assume he just meant that JJ Moser is going to have a great year.
Yeah. Thoughts?
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. I don't know if JJ Moser is going to be like the second coming of
Hedman.
Yeah, second coming of Victor Hedman. And get 70, 80 points. But I think if JJ Moser can get to 40 points.
I was just about to say, I bet you he reaches 40 this season, assuming he stays healthy, because he did have a long-term injury last year. So
yeah, if he goes 30 to 40, I think you're going to see him highly regarded in Tampa Bay lore, because that's really all you need from that spot.
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely.
And he's gotten there before. He's been a 30-point guy a couple times in his career. It didn't happen last year because I think that they played him a little bit more in defensive situations than he'd ever really been at, in Arizona.
Right.
But I think he can get there. I think that is a solid take.
I do too. And also I want to shout Jacob out because he's been supporting my content for a long, long time before this Locked On Lightning too. So Thank you, Jacob.
Love that. Let's go to our YouTube page, and at CoolCats3831, I predict Connor Geeky to have a breakout year and get 55 plus points.
I do remember reading that one.
Yeah. Do what?
I said I remember reading that one.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on it?
I like it. I do. I think it's possible. Yeah. I don't think that's an unreasonable take at all.
I'm with you. This was kind of one of my takes too. I look at Connor Geeky, and I think it's like if there is more so than Gage Gonsalves, even I would say if there's somebody to sort of build, you know, I guess let me put it this way: like if there's somebody that you look on this team and say like they're going to be like a bona fide building block in a couple years, I think it's Geeky. And you saw in the preseason just how much skill he has. And I know he's kind of been like third, fourth line, like grit grinder sort of role the past couple of years and just using it for his energy, but he has so much skill. I mean, this guy's a former number 11 overall pick, I think he was. So there's some offensive prowess in the tank there. And I think maybe he doesn't get a lot of opportunity to play, on the top two line in like a pure scoring role. But I think you're going to start to see him showcase some of those skills that made him so highly regarded as a prospect. So I'm with you. I think in certain situations, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility Geeky hits 55 points this year. I think the only concern I have, Greg, is that he might be starting like on the fourth line.
And that's exactly what I was about to say. I don't think it's unreasonable to think that he could hit 55. I think it's more unreasonable to think that he'll get the ice time to hit 55. So if I had to give this a rating, I would say slightly bold. And the other reason I say that is because I think Gage right now is just better. And I think Gage is going to see more ice. Gage is more defensively responsible. And all those things are evident in just the numbers.
Yeah,
I would love to see Geeky take another big step forward, right? Like I want that. There's not a ton of room, as we've talked about, in this forward group for there to be a bunch of guys skating more than 12 minutes. And I think you'll see Geeky skate somewhere around the 12-minute mark.
I think Geeky is going to, in the next couple of years, really break out.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. I just don't think this season he's going to put up like 80 or something ridiculous. Like I honestly don't think he'll reach 55. I don't think it's a bad take. I think he'll probably sit in like 30 to 40 range. That's my guess.
Yeah. The talent is there. Is there.
Yes, absolutely.
Here's another one that came from our Instagram. This was from Caden Quinn. He says Dustin Wolf from the Calgary Flames will win the Vezina Trophy this year. We didn't mention Dustin Wolf as a Vezina pick on our awards predictions the other day.
We did not.
But what do you think, Greg? Is it possible?
Yeah, absolutely. He's so good. Here's why I would say he might get I don't want to say scammed, but the reason that I think he might not win is because the Flames are just so average. And sometimes when you're on an average team, it doesn't make you look that great, right? And we all know that he's going to be great. And we all know that long-term, he is probably one of the best goalies in the league right now. Mm-hmm. But when you have a bunch of shots on you and your team is average, sometimes you look a little more human than you really are.
Yeah. Does he get the, Connor Hellebuck rub of just being the best player on a okay team and just elevate them?
I mean, the Jets were actually good last year, though.
Well, the Jets are good. Maybe a good example is like 2021 UC Saros for the Nashville Predators, where that team sucked.
Right.
Had no business being good. And then UC Saros
he's like
somehow got them into the postseason. Yeah. With like a 930 save percentage.
Right.
I think like the last month of the season was like 950 or something insane like that.
That's insane.
I think, if the Flames make the playoffs this year, I think it's going to be because of Dustin Wolf. So I would say that is right on. I would say that's a take. I don't think it's a bold take. I don't think it's a toss-up take.
Yeah.
I think that is right on the proper scale of takeness.
I agree.
Yeah. One more, and this came from our Instagram. It's Jacob Magadan again. This is an interesting one. We face off against the Ottawa Senators in the first round of the playoffs. Interesting and timely for tonight, Greg.
Yeah. I'm trying to think about how that would work as far as standings go.
It would we would either be 2-3,
Right. Or one wild
or
card one.
yeah, or one of us is in the division title and one of us is in the wild card.
Right.
I assume he meant that in that situation we would be the number
2-3.
one.
Oh, really?
It could be, but 2-3 makes just as much sense.
Yeah, I think 2-3 would make sense. I could see like Toronto ending 1 and us 2 and then Sens 3 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually like that. I think, first of all, I hope that happens. I need a change. Second of all, that's a fun matchup. I love these two teams when they play. I mentioned it earlier. They are very high scoring when they play each other. These games are generally like 4-3, 5-3-ish.
Yeah.
I don't expect that to change, to be honest with you, unless one of these goalies somehow stands on their head. But game one, everyone kind of enters a little cold. So I think it's going to be, 3+ goals per team this game. And I think if we see them in the playoffs, it'll be a firefight. That'll be a really fun one. And I think that's a good take. I think I believe it, to be honest with you. I think I could see that happening.
I'm with you. I just want a different matchup.
Yeah.
Somebody else.
Yeah.
God, they need to change this. They need to change this playoff format. What are the odds here? This is like a 2-second thing, but give me odds for Ottawa, or not for Ottawa, for Edmonton and LA facing off in the first round again this year.
Probably very high.
5th year in a row. This will be 5th year in a row.
I would say very high. And I'll be quick about this point I want to make, but the parity in the East is so much different than the West. The West has like 6 to 8 teams that you're like, these teams are all going to the playoffs, and the rest of them are not making the playoffs. That's how I look at it. And the East is so close. There could be a lot of different teams in the playoffs. So with the West for me is just like always the same. It's like the same exact teams in my mind, like Stars, Kings, Oilers, Vegas. It's just those are going to be the teams again. And we look at the East, and I'm not going to say the Lightning are going to miss because I don't think they will, but theoretically they could, right? Like if the Habs turn it on this season, the Wings wake up a little bit, the Sens look amazing, and the Lightning lose Vasi to an injury or something and they miss, that is possible. I just don't think that's something that's possible in the West. Like the Oilers, there's no way they can miss. There's no way the Kings can miss in my eyes either. Yeah. Like I think that matchup is happening 100%.
I'm with you. I think there's a lot more, room for a wild card in the East in that sense.
Yep.
In the sense that I think more things can happen, where I think maybe the gap between good and bad in the West is a little bit more profound.
Yeah, and I really don't like that right now, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, at least we have the East.
Yeah.
We have the Eastern Conference to get behind, Greg. Hey, it's not too late to send in bold predictions. Again, just chime in on one of our YouTube videos. Chime in this one. Hit us up on Instagram. Locked On Lightning is our @handle there. Let us know your thoughts for the season. We love to hear from you. We love to talk hockey from you, and give us a reason why you think what you think. That was a tongue twister. Yeah, we'll be back tomorrow with recap from Lightning versus Senators. Should be a good one. Again, 7:00 puck drop. Thanks for making us your first listen of the day. We'll be back with a new episode tomorrow. We'll see you then.